Boy, these FCC rules do sound a little scary. What practically does it mean for consumers?
So, in effect, what this does is it gives it takes power away from the FCC to set limits on what internet service providers can and can't do with your information. So the Comcast, AT&T's, Verizon's of the world now have more freedom to work with the information that you are putting out online, your search history, what apps you use. Before, the FCC had put limits on what they could do with that. Now those limits, they'd never taken effect. Now they won't take effect. And now, in theory, an ISP can take your browsing history, for example, monitor that without your permission, sell it, use it to target ads against you, kind of make more money from what you do online.
Okay, so that's the second question. You covered what it means for consumers. What does it mean for these businesses? The stocks and the indexes that include these telcos and other broadband stocks are way up.
They're doing really well. There's a lot of hopefulness. There's a lot of expectation that the Trump administration is going to deregulate, take away these constraints that lawmakers say the Democrats had, just kind of overreached with the FCC. The idea here is that that regulation that was in theory holding back the AT&Ts of the world again is going to be taken away. They're going to have more freedom. They're going to be regulated more by the FTC and not the FCC, and maybe plow some of that profit back into making innovative products. Or maybe just, lining the pockets of their shareholders. Okay, well,
another big news topic of the week, Tesla, everyone's favorite electric car company, Tencent, the Chinese messaging giant, investing $5 billion in Tesla. Or no, sorry, $1.8 billion.
5%.
5% of the company. Dana, what does that mean for Tesla?
Well, it's a huge deal because, Tesla's investors have largely been U.S.-based companies and shareholders. Now you have Tencent is now their 5th largest shareholder. So they've vaulted to the top in terms of importance. Elon is number 1, Tencent is number 5. And this comes as Tesla has really kind of struggled to crack the Chinese market. So what's most notable is that when the news came out, Elon tweeted, "We're really happy to have Tencent as an investor and an advisor." And I think that really speaks to his relationship with investors in this advisory role.
Well, what can Tencent do? I mean, they are a messaging company. Of course, everyone uses WeChat in China, but what practically can they do to accelerate the sale of Teslas in China?
Well, I think they can really use WeChat as a marketing platform to kind of reach consumers. China is the world's largest auto market, and Pony Ma has this vision of not just autonomous cars, but also kind of embedding mapping software into the messaging, and maps are huge for Tesla. You've got to have good mapping software if you're going to sell cars in China.
Tom, what does it do for Tencent? Tencent, of course, a big investor in Didi.
Right. You got to think of Tencent as much more than the WeChat company. They have these big global ambitions to be in a lot of different places, a lot of different markets. They're looking at AI technology for self-driving cars, hence the investment in Didi. They're investing in map technology, which, as Dana pointed out, you really need for driverless. They're making big bets on electric. They're a big investor in an electric car company based here in California, but started by a Chinese guy. So they've got big ambitions in AI, electric, and this kind of furthers them down that road. And Ma has said he would like to see them get into developing AI technology in the future.
Okay, last topic. Another SpaceX launch from Cape Canaveral. Dana, it sounds routine, but it was anything but. Why was yesterday different for Elon Musk's SpaceX?
So this was the first time that SpaceX had launched a rocket that they'd used before, which is a really big deal. No one has ever done that. People talk about, the shuttle was reusable. No, this is the first time that a rocket that had gone to space went to space again. And so it was kind of this twofer where they relaunched the rocket and then they landed it again on the drone ship. And Elon was euphoric.
He got a little
yesterday.
Emotional about it, didn't he?
Oh my God, he was like, this has been 15 years in the making. He was sort of weeping, and then he gave this rambling press conference in Cape Canaveral where he was just so excited. This is really what SpaceX is all about, right? Driving down the cost of space so that ultimately humans can live on Mars.
But they have promised eventually 24-hour turnaround time. This rocket was flown a year ago, so how close are they in achieving the ultimate vision?
Yeah, so it took them about 4 months to refurbish this one. They went over all the engines with a fine-tooth comb, but eventually they want it to be like flying a 747. You should be able to fly a rocket, bring it back, refuel it, fly it again. That's still far ways off, but Elon's always pushing the envelope.
Okay, I promised a mystery question for both of you guys. So if Elon calls you next year, Tom, we'll start with you, and says, we're taking humans to space, you can be the first journalist in space. Do you do it?
Absolutely. I don't think he's going to be calling me. Dana, maybe.
Dana, would you do that?
It depends on, so I think it would be very exciting to go to Mars, but I have some concerns about like the infrastructure of Mars. Like, when I get there?
Perhaps not Mars. Maybe it's an orbit of the moon.
I'd fly around the moon. That'd be cool.
And remind us what his ambitions now are with human space travel.
Well, so I think part of it is Trump is very interested in the moon. So now, like, Mars is still the long-term goal, but we want to go to the moon first. So he's got 2 private citizens. If anyone knows who they are, give me a call. That have paid SpaceX a significant deposit to fly around the moon late next year.